Is egg yolk really dangerous for heart health after 50? The science has changed. If I told you that for decades we may have been unfairly blaming egg yolks, would you believe me? How many times have you looked at an egg, carefully separated the yolk, and thought, better for my heart this way? I've met countless people over 50 who still hold on to that belief. Yet modern science may surprise you. Once you're past 50, heart health is no longer just a distant medical concept. It's a real concern, showing up every time you go for your annual checkup, when the doctor reads out your cholesterol, blood pressure, or when a friend your age is suddenly hospitalized with a heart attack. And somewhere in that picture, egg yolks are still hanging under the suspect sign. But is the truth really that simple? I remember back in the 1980s when I was still a young medical student. In textbooks, in the news, and in lecture halls, the message about cholesterol was repeated over and over, etched deep into people's minds. Eating too much cholesterol will raise your blood cholesterol, which causes atherosclerosis and heart attacks. It sounded perfectly logical. After all, when scientists examined arterial plaque under a microscope, they saw a yellowish fatty substance, cholesterol. From there, a widely accepted assumption emerged. If you eat foods high in cholesterol, like egg yolks, red meat, or liver, that cholesterol will go straight into your blood, build up in your arteries, and cause disease. But science doesn't stand still. As nutrition research became more advanced, we discovered that the human body does not work like a simple pipeline, where what you eat flows directly into your bloodstream. In fact, about 75% of the cholesterol in your blood is made by your liver, and only about 25% comes from food. Even more interesting, your body has a smart regulatory system. When you eat more cholesterol, your liver produces less. When you eat less, your liver makes more to maintain the amount you need. And need here is not just a figure of speech. Cholesterol is essential for producing sex hormones like testosterone and estrogen. It forms part of cell membranes. It's the precursor of vitamin D, and it helps produce bile for fat digestion. Without cholesterol, we literally cannot survive. The key point, not everyone who eats egg yolks will see a rise in blood cholesterol. And even when cholesterol levels do increase, it does not automatically mean heart disease risk goes up. Over the last decade, studies from Harvard and the American Heart Association have shown that in healthy people, eating 1 to 2 whole eggs per day has little to no impact on heart disease risk. In fact, for some, levels of HDL, the good cholesterol, actually increase. Of course, there is still a small group known as hyper-responders, about 20 to 25% of the population, who react more strongly to dietary cholesterol. But even in these cases, changes in blood lipids are usually not severe, especially if the overall diet is healthy, rich in vegetables, low in refined sugar, and free from industrial trans fats. Nutrition perspective. You're throwing away the best part. I've seen many people, especially those over 50, eat eggs, but always throw away the yolk. The reason is almost always the same. My doctor said my cholesterol is high, so egg yolks are bad for my heart. It's such a shame because the yolk is the real nutritional treasure of the egg. Inside, you'll find choline, essential for brain health, supporting memory, and reducing dementia risk. After 50, our bodies make less choline, so food sources become more important. Lutein and zeaxanthin, carotenoids that protect the retina and reduce the risk of age-related macular degeneration, a leading cause of blindness in older adults. Vitamin D, one of the very few natural food sources of vitamin D. As we age, our skin's ability to make vitamin D from sunlight declines, so dietary sources are crucial. Omega-3 fatty acids help reduce inflammation, support brain and heart health. Selenium, a mineral with antioxidant properties that protect cells from damage. Vitamins A, E, and K, important for vision, antioxidant protection, and healthy blood clotting. When you throw away the yolk, you're left with the white, which mainly provides protein and a few minerals. But you lose all the fat-soluble vitamins and eye, brain, heart protective compounds. For people over 50, maintaining muscle mass and bone strength is critical to prevent falls and fractures. Eggs provide high-quality protein with all essential amino acids, and they're easier to digest than red meat or other protein sources. Adding the yolk back into your breakfast not only keeps you fuller for longer, but also helps maintain steady energy levels and avoid mid-morning sugar crashes. Memory and cultural beliefs. Close your eyes and think back To those mornings in the countryside when your mother or grandmother made breakfast, a plate of sunny side up eggs with golden yolks, warm bread, the aroma of butter or scallion oil filling the air. Our parents and grandparents ate eggs daily, sometimes boiled, sometimes stewed, and stayed healthy, working hard in the fields all day, raising children, and living well into old age. Back then, no one was talking about blood cholesterol or atherosclerosis as much as we do now. Then at some point, the news, health magazines, and even doctors began warning, to protect your heart, skip the yolk. This habit quickly became a norm in many households. Even now, when modern science has shown that eating whole eggs in moderation is safe for most people, that fear still lingers. I've had patients tell me, I know the doctor says I can eat the yolk now, but I'm not used to it. I'm still afraid. That's the power of habits and beliefs built over decades. Looking at the bigger picture, the real culprits behind heart disease are rarely the eggs. It's the overall lifestyle. Diets high in refined sugar, industrial trans fats, smoking, lack of exercise, chronic stress. By blaming egg yolks alone, we risk ignoring far more dangerous factors. A real-life story I'll never forget. A patient named Lan, 62 years old, petite, with a warm smile. She told me that for the past 15 years, she'd eaten only egg whites, throwing away the yolks out of fear of cholesterol. Her test results showed moderately high cholesterol, but she often felt fatigued, had memory lapses, and was developing early-stage osteoporosis. After explaining the body's cholesterol regulation mechanism, I suggested she try eating one whole egg every morning, along with plenty of vegetables and fruit, while cutting back on sugar and fried foods. 3 months later, Lan came back looking radiant. Doctor, I feel so much better. I'm not sluggish in the mornings anymore. I get housework done faster. I can walk farther without getting tired. My cholesterol tests are fine, and my HDL even went up. I regret avoiding yolks all those years. Her case is far from unique. I've seen dozens of similar stories. Sometimes just one small change in eating habits, based on scientific evidence, can make a clear difference in health, especially after 50. Closing thoughts. It's possible that what you've believed about egg yolks for the last 20 years was only half the truth. If modern science shows that eating one whole egg a day is safe for most people, would you be willing to change, or would you still hold on to the habit of discarding the yolk? Share your story and thoughts. Maybe your experience will help someone realize that sometimes the thing we fear most is exactly what our body needs. Nếu bạn muốn, mình có thể biến bản tiếng Anh này thành kịch bản video giọng kể tự nhiên, kèm hook